Well, guys, welcome to Crowns and Crows. We're getting close to the end of season 3, and I believe we're on episode 4, maybe 5. Depends on how official we want to get, considering we had a few episodes uh, get lost due to technical issues that I blame on anyone other than myself. That being said, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to track down what episode we're on because, these details matter. But, the situation is Lake's going to have to take a break from the show for about, we're estimating, 2 months. And Dragon just had work come around, and he wasn't able to join us today. So welcome. I did attempt to find a couple of guests, and we were still kind of in that wait and see period. Sadly, we weren't able to nail someone down for that. But you've got me. I'll probably keep this relatively brief because it's just me talking to myself. And oh, really? No sound? All right, let me get this taken care of. No sound. Wait, is Blixtev just screwing with me now? Because here I am, trying to fix problems that don't exist. Look at this guy. Let me know if you have issues, but it sounds like Nox picking me up, so I'm okay with it. Live and let live. So as I was saying, Dragon's out, Lake's out, and it's just me tonight. Let's do the quick rundown if I can find the right window for that. Crowfall is up to 22,413 backers. Their funds have exceeded 2,361,000 and counting. The current stretch goal, of course, guys, is they're working on bringing on a QA champion. Not to be confused with any other champions that may or may not exist in whatever current client they have internally. But they're estimating this person is going to cost them 65 grand. Remember, that includes all overhead. So it's not like this guy's probably going to be making 65 grand. If he is, man, I need to get into QA. That being said, we've had a couple news updates, and disappointingly enough, if I take a drink, you just have to wait for the for the silence to end. But you know what? I'm not going to let it affect my drinking. As it shouldn't, right? We had a test today. Blixtev is in channel, so hopefully he can give me a bit of an update on that. I was at work because I have a normal job, and because I'm curious. They said that they're going to try and get some stuff in. I want to know what they were able to get in, and how did the client react? How did people perform? Anything new there? First and foremost, today's update we had the Combat Chat 5, number 5, staying alive, where we had Blair and Tully sit down and talk about the things that they saw, what they expected, what they didn't expect with their pre-alpha testing thus far, and some interesting points came around. They brought up some of the features that they said they've been working on internally. Tully mentioned the chain pull from the Knight being a key element that he's tested and it works great for him, and then you get it live, you deal with latency, you deal with some of these other network or server related issues, and all of a sudden it just throws people all over the map, or doesn't throw people. Of course, I ran into a couple situations where one of my own players would run in front of me when I was trying to chain pull, or successfully. There would be a knight who'd run in front of a confessor I was trying to pull, and I'd grab that knight. I also see that you can get hung up on some really small stuff, which, that's just not an important element. They're not going to be working on, polishing rough edges. They're working on actually, getting this content in there. So I'm not terribly concerned about that. Obviously, I'm focusing on this chain pull because, I love the knight. I love being able to play those melee characters. And, a lot of people really began to play the knights as they realized the crowd control. Some of the confessor skills they felt underpowered because of the latency problems that everyone had at the beginning of the test, where when they first did the first, I think, week or two, everyone was dealing with 1,000 millisecond ping. And then when they were working on fixing all of those problems, they actually got it down to a place where people were, in the sub 200 ping, sub 100 ping for some. And all of a sudden, these confessors significantly more powerful. And it's because they're able to land their skills a little bit more reliably. And so then you started seeing it become a very confessor-heavy test. So when you saw all of that damage coming down the road, the knights were a little bit less useful because you couldn't just lock people down like we were able to with the latency issues. And it's fun seeing the dynamic kind of evolve, seeing the meta evolve in a game that is 3 weeks, 4 weeks old now. That's how long people have actually been in playing, testing, having fun. So I look at the progress they made so far, and I am not particularly upset. I know that some people are getting hung up on some elements, but I'll get to that part when I get to that part. I want to kind of stay a little bit on track here with this Combat Chat 5. They wanted to bring out some valuable contribution play testers have made to their progress. And, your very own Crowns and Crows host currently here, Valor, got a shout out. They made sure to mention that I was performing horribly when it came to completing combos. The first couple of days, the funny thing is I actually would have been doing a lot worse, as I was not used to running with combos. And so, I'm just used to, you hit your 1 key and then you'll move to your next skill, and you hit 4 key and then your 3 key and 6 key, whatever it is. That was just what I'm familiar with, and so that's what I was trying to do. But with the latency issues, I could not tell whether or not my skills are going off. So I'd hit them like 2 or 3 times, and then I'd move on to the next skill, and I'd hit that like 2 or 3 times. And so actually, I wasn't even trying to do combos. I was just trying to get my skill to activate. So sure enough, I would have been significantly worse off were it not for latency. But it also goes to show, I think that footage was probably shot shortly thereafter, because I remember the day where Thomas was in, and he was like, Valor, you need to make sure that you're completing your combos. I'm like, yeah, I get that part. Well, I'm just trying to actually get skills out. But yeah, it was fun, and needless to say, I made a bit of a reputation for myself, so I'm not going to take it too personal. I'll just give him a bunch of grief over it. So, they also mentioned, Obs from Lords of Death. He made a good name for himself. He performed really well, and I'm sure was able to help them test out a lot that had to do with the Legionnaire. He was pretty good on his Knight as well. He ended up winning a fair amount as I recall, and there's a couple others out there that really did a fantastic job, and anytime I saw them on my team, I was always happy. Sadly, I ended up with Kagan a lot, and it's just one of those, it's like, I'm gonna lose this one. Keegan's on my team. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and see how that goes down. And it's pronounced Keegan for those that are unfamiliar. I've been calling him Kagan forever and a day, but oh well. So Combat Chat 5, it was interesting. For folks that are kind of curious to see what the devs see, that's really what they were able to look at. They were able to say, well, I mean, all this stuff is in the game. Why don't people know just to go rush the keep? Which I would, I would do that pretty frequently if I was in position. Some spawn points were closer to the mouth of the gate to the keep than others. But if I was spawned on the far backside, I wasn't going to try and rush it. Yet there were a few times where we just kind of meandered our way into the keep and realized nobody had been there yet. And if they had been there, they didn't collect all of the chests. And so it's just one of those elements where they're able to recognize, what, we put all this stuff in here. It seemed really explanatory to us because we built it. Maybe we need to review something and make sure that it is even more obvious, or there is a way for it to become obvious just through playing. Or these are the sorts of things that developers really have to go back and look at, because when they are sitting there designing the game, man, I mean, come on, why don't they just finish your combo? Why is that such a hard thing? Well, everybody's approaching this game from different backgrounds, and a significantly different background from the people who've built it, and so it's going to be a learning process, and that's what I'm looking forward to, and it's what I look for in a dev team when they are able to recognize that what seems obvious to them might not be obvious to the players, because being able to see that right now, and then being able to respond and adapt to that down the road, completely different. Not completely different. That is a wonderful attribute to have, because now it's not just going to be a one of these scenarios where they just don't get it, so screw them, we're going to push the game out as it is. So you know what, kudos to you guys. Hopefully you're able to maintain that approach moving forward and continue to make the game not easier, but easier to understand. Gosh, if I said make the game easier, there'd be a billion people pissed off, and by a billion I mean probably like 20. Then again, you know what? On the flip side, anything I say will end up pissing someone off. So, this one's for you, Kagan. All right, so that kind of covered some of the highlights of what they brought up. They sort of touched on no NDA, fantastic, whatever. There's so many questions that I have, and I can't wait to actually get my hands on one of these ACE employees. And that sounds aggressive, but wait till you hear the questions I want to ask them. There's a lot out there. I'm really curious to know more about what they're really getting from pre-alpha 1. Or pre-alpha combat milestone 1, and what they expect to be able to get as we continue forward. So looking forward to those elements, and just getting that kind of opportunity. I'm hoping that comes down the road soon. We'll see. Fantastic. Combat Chat 5 in the books. Man, talk about just the cheesiest. That there. All right, guys. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm going to throw that in chat right there. And moving on. All right, so speaking of combat milestone 1.0, we are nearing the end. The Hunger Dome as we know it will come to an end. We will see the last test take place Friday, October 2nd. They're going to have one 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Singapore servers. So if you're in the U.S. and would like to deal with horrible latency, go for that. They also have one taking place 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. On both the U.S. and the Singapore servers. So if you're in the U.S. and you want to have horrible latency, you can still do that. But then, also that's Central Time. So my goal is to be able to make that at least my last effort in there and have some fun with it, see what we can do. Ace is a quirky bunch. You never know what you're going to see. Who knows? We might log in and it'll be a pink landscape. Oh man, I hope they don't do that. That'd be rough. All right. So they actually put out the schedule. Playtest today was 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. I think there was a couple people who were able to make that. They've got one Wednesday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. I hope to make that one. And then they have another one Thursday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., which, again, I have a normal job, so I won't be able to make that. And obviously Friday, which we talked about. Guys, this is their first combat module test. It is part of the pre-alpha phase, but it is just this one particular module that they're testing out. So they've been able to bring in people from alpha test 1 to be able to participate, let them test out more data by having the add numbers there. Hey, got myself a bot. That's pretty cool. I just have to figure out if I can get rid of him. Goodbye. That's too bad. Oh well. Didn't need the viewers anyway. And so, when we, go through with where are we in the development process, we're still pre-alpha. And the next test, they've already said, they're starting over on their, testers. So they're going to start back with people who are specifically, designated pre-alpha. And then they will begin adding in alpha 1 testers again as they need them. Now, from what my understanding is they're working on optimizing the client a little bit and taking care of some of the network coding elements. Layman's terms, they're trying to make the game run better for when more people on the map. So with that under consideration, I can't imagine them leaving this for their pre-alpha testers for long, just because what good is it to limit your your user base to log into the game and not have the numbers that you need to support it. So I expect that Alpha 1 people probably get in there pretty quick. And they said, I don't know if they've said how long, but we can probably guess that if they're going to take all the data that they've got from the combat test 1 and then digest all of it, which I'm sure that's going to be a ton of fun for everyone over the coming weeks. Digest all of it, continue implementing, continue developing. I'm hoping to see the next test phase. Let's see, we're getting to the end of September, so maybe late November, hopefully, we can see. That'd be cool. I'd be okay with that. I don't think I really have anything going on in November, and so I can schedule my life around gaming, as we all probably love to do. So those are the that's the schedule for the week. What we can expect coming down the road. Another update of Thanksgiving gone, please. All right. First off, I don't know. First off doesn't really work at this point. Welcome to everyone who has showed up, Gansaku as well, and let me get that cursor out of there so everyone can see. Also wanted to say thanks to Knock. He put together this heads-up display for us, and we've taken some elements from it and incorporated into kind of the theme that we already had going on, but as I had to kind of put everything together last minute, I needed the original files, and this is the one I had. So shout out to him. He did our logo, the banner, more or less all the artwork. So great work for him. And then if you guys do need any sort of artwork done, I know that he is working on putting together as much as he can into a Crowfall package so that he can participate in some of the higher tiered events that are going to be taking place. I know he wants to be able to make it out here to Austin for the launch party, which would be a big deal. So definitely, if you guys have any need for artwork, hit him up, and I will get you a link for that. So but that's going to be as we continue talking. The other update that came out is the announcement of the male assassin. Now, we remember that the assassins right now are the Fae, and everyone was kind of assuming that the Fae were just going to be a female race, and that was going to be that. Now, there's a lot of conversations that kicked off over the Fae. There's going to be, can they fly? One version of them had wings. Are they going to be able to fly? Are they going to, what sort of mechanics are going to, really revolve around that kind of archetype? We know that they're going to be able to do some stealth, and I believe that they were able to mention that Rangers were going to have some sort of anti-stealth. And so when they introduce the Ranger 2 test phases from now, I think we're going to see maybe stealth, because Rangers are supposed to be able to stealth as well. So I'm curious to kind of see where all of that goes. Anyway, getting back to the male assassin, Fae, they're still a Fae, they're just male, which is weird. This update was titled Whispers and Dark Wings. I think it's Todd. He has the flair for the dramatic when he's writing everything, and they mentioned Gordon in the third person, so I think that this is what they're talking about. But adding a half-breed male assassin, and might want to learn more about him. I didn't have time to read this one, but he's not a Fae. He's not human. He's a half-breed. So he's something. I think they're just going to leave it at half-breed. That looks like a Fae and has wings. You know what? When you're writing a story, you can make it say whatever you want, and who's going to tell you otherwise? Twice cursed by the gods, forever to look like a child, never to father one. So, I'm just going to say what everyone's thinking. He obviously never hit puberty, how do they reproduce? Did they get it? I don't think they got into that. They probably didn't get into that. These are just typical questions people are going to want to know about. But we have been able to identify that I don't think Crowfall's going to be working with any sort of Fable-esque marriage system. So, hey. But you know what? Hey, you can have a relationship based off of just friendship. You don't have to be able to procreate for that to work, I guess. Anyway, moving on. The male Fae assassin, half-breed person. That's a thing. And let's see if we can pull up some information about him. I think he's actually going to share the same stats as the Fae assassin. They don't actually have him in their lineup, so I'm not sure what's going on there. They unlocked the stretch goal, but we don't have any information on it. So I guess we unlocked the stretch goal, but they haven't actually put that money to work. All right, I'm okay with it. I'll be curious to see how he compares to the Fae assassin as a half-breed assassin. What's going to be the differentiators? Why do they both have wings? Do they both need wings? Can they fly? Flying's not in here. We know that they've said that there's not going to be any flying, but maybe some gliding, maybe reduced fall damage. When you consider the physics engine, they should be able to adjust for that particular archetype a reduced fall speed, right? So you jump off and you just kind of glide. Then they get to deal with whatever their fall animation is. Maybe that would be game breaking. Maybe it'd be an unfair advantage. I don't know. One thing that I hope for in relation to this is that they have cliffs. They have things that you can fall off and kill yourself. And the reason I say this is because nothing is more fun than leading somebody who's trying to kill you to the edge of a cliff, and then in past games you just kind of dodge them a little bit and they jump off the cliff. Nothing they can do about it. Or in this game, you can push them off the cliff or pull them off the cliff. There's a variety of different fun things that you can do, and they fall and they die, and everyone's happy. And I mean everyone. So that was the assassin half breed. I was hoping there's going to be more information on there. Doesn't seem to be a whole ton of information on there, and it looks like we scared Blickstev away because I was hoping for him to throw me some information about how the test went today. Such is life. Yeah, guys, I mean, this is Crowfall in a nutshell. We are progressing into another quiet state where they are going to be working on, the actual game. I know that when they do these tests, they interact. You can see them, you see them in people's streams. They are actually in there, they're playing the game, but they're watching, they're watching how the game unfolds. And so that takes time away. I mean, we're talking 2 hours out of the day where some of them are not able to continue working on the game because they need to be, able to be in there, respond to people with their problems, be able to see people's problems, and obviously taking notes, seeing how things are, developing and unfolding. So it takes time away from the studio being able to continue working on the game. We're going to, this dead period of them just working on the game, and that's what, we're going to hopefully see some more interesting content updates. My cat, no cat, you cannot have my drinks. We're going to see some more probably, in-depth, detailed content updates, but, I don't expect to see a whole lot of, dev interaction because they're going to be probably, hitting that mill pretty hard. So, guys, I've got very little. Feel free to hop on GameVox if you'd like. There's just not a whole bunch to go over right now, and it's just me. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them in chat. I'll definitely hang out here, chat with you guys as long as you want, and we'll just have some fun, I guess. I do know that there's another podcast starting up by Murder, Muhrder, I believe. He's going to be working with someone. They're going to do just a recording, nothing live, on Mondays. And and it might give people something more to do. I know that we haven't always been fantastic at uploading our audio onto our podcast hosting site. It's something that I probably ought to take over, considering the fact that one of our hosts who usually does it is going to be gone for a couple months. Yeah, I mean, it's been a fun process, and I've really been able to enjoy watching it, being here in Austin, and having some limited access to the studios. It's a really impressive and very interesting element of the game design. So by all means, guys, if you have questions that you'd like, what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to actually send over a list of questions and see about doing an interview so that we can get some of these questions answered, because I know people do have a little bit larger questions other than hey, when's the next test, or will my computer play this game? And that's kind of what I want to get into. I want to get into, hey, what can people really expect over the next 2, 3, 6 months? Where are we going to get? And we have to remember, I mean, they have a target launch date. And their target launch date is December of 2016. Considering, they just started pre-alpha testing a month ago. So that's 16 months? 16 months to get the game from their first pre-alpha to launch. and feature ready without any of the issues that typically plague PvP games and can really kill a PvP game. It's a lot of work. It's going to be really interesting to see how they are able to keep up with their development as they continue adding more and more features. So I've got Gunsaku, who he logged into GameVox. If you he's looking for a microphone though, because he always comes prepared. Don't say it like that. You know what? I mean, if I have a fault, it is that I will be a little too honest. So, all right, bring Gunsaku in here. Gun, welcome to the show, and I hope you have something interesting worth talking about, or else I'm just going to kick you out of here.
Well, not really at the moment. I apologize.
I'm not really going to kick you out of here. Honestly, I'm not sure I possibly could. I might be able to. Not that I'm going to work on it. You haven't been able to do any testing. Did you get to pick up on any of the YouTube videos of late, Gun?
No, I mean, I haven't paid attention to a lot of the stuff that's been going on the last couple weeks. I was participating in the first 2 or 3 tests, I think it was, which was fun. Of course, there's a lot of stuff to be done, but it was a good time. And from what I hear, some things have been tweaked since then, which is good. I like progress.
Well, you were dealing with the high latency, weren't you?
I was definitely dealing with high latency and also some particle effects, but I did see in some of the updates that particle effects on the Confessor had been updated. I just unfortunately did not get a chance to actually experience that.
Okay. Yeah, the particle effects, that was kind of cool. Getting to see confessor skills and not just dying. That was definitely an interesting thing. But really, for me, is them being able to fix their latency issues. I know that everything kind of kicked off really fast, and that was a very very big issue that everyone dealt with. And so when you deal with that sort of thing, being able to address it quickly is important. And I think that people who are familiar with the development cycle understand that, hey, when they, pick up on something that needs to be fixed and they fix it quickly, that's something that should, be expressed to the community at large. Hey, this was the biggest issue and they already fixed it. So, it's what people expect, but they don't understand how difficult that can be sometimes.
No, for sure, which is why I was kind of surprised to hear how quickly it got fixed.
Yeah, I was completely surprised as well. That's the sort of thing that I expect to take, I don't know, a couple of weeks at least. But yeah, they were able to get 20, 30, did they get back up to 30? I think they had it capped at like 25, 26, maybe 26. I don't really remember the math at this point. I just get in there and kill people. But being able to get the numbers back up there, and hopefully they're able to, I think day one they tried doing 49 and things just died. Everyone was at 8,000 latency, server struggling, all that fun jazz. So yeah, hopeful things pick up there, and we're able to see some nice improvements from moving forward. Here, Xander actually just joined channel, and welcome, not Knock, but Purple Streak. I'm by myself. I announced earlier, Lake's going to be away from the show for a couple months, and Dragon had work tonight, so I am here. The Xander, are you able to talk in GameVox, or are you just hanging out?
Yeah, I can talk.
All right, a little bit on the loud side. I hope that doesn't transfer over, but feel free. Do you have anything you'd like to contribute?
I don't know if you want to talk about some speculation or something like that.
Yeah, we can talk some speculation. We don't have to worry about Dragon sitting on our shoulder.
Yeah. What ifs.
An hour of what ifs. I don't know if I can handle that.
Oh man, right, right. Yeah, I mean, what were you wanting to speculate on? What do you think?
I've always been a big proponent of stats and leaderboards, so I'm curious as to what they're actually going to provide as far as that.
That's a very good question, and There's some of these elements that I am really interested in and advocate for myself. And it's not for me, it's just because I think there is value in them. And I think leaderboards, there is value in them. People are very concerned about the general populace losing focus on winning a campaign and instead focusing on, KDR. And so, when people bring up leaderboards, that's usually the argument back and forth. For me personally, I see that people who care about winning are going to focus on winning. And if you don't care about winning, what else are you able to get out of the game? So giving those people something else to get out of the game, that, to me at least, it says, hey, here's something that you can do. I mean, I
Right.
don't, I don't see the downside as much, but it's
That's
hot debate.
my train of thought on it as well. Also, as a wrap up, once a campaign is complete, kind of, you know, you could do like I mentioned on the forums, and I got blasted for this,
Hmm.
but I'm a huge fan of like 4X strategy games, um, like Civilization and some of the other ones that came out. I can't remember them all. Endless Legend, I think.
Hmm.
And at the end of, when you beat a match, you get a great screen with all the metrics and of different things that happened, territory that was controlled, who owned this city when, how much money they were making, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool if they had that at the end of the campaign as a summary.
I think it would be as well. And, that was another question that arose was, when do export this data to leaderboards? Do you, I mean, if people are, they know they can't win the campaign and they're just out there trying to kill folks, they want to, see if they can be the top killer for the campaign. Um, do you update that daily? Do you update that live? Do you update and the reason that this is a question is, if you know that people are collecting a bunch of resources, you know that they're about to do something with those resources, that becomes a tactical, tracking. And you don't want to have that kind of information just publicly out there.
Right.
So, that's a good question is, when do you put that information out publicly?
Right, and I'm not going to advocate and say, and I think maybe people took this the wrong way when I mentioned it on the forums, but I'm not advocating that everything should be tracked and reported instantly
Hmm.
when it happens. I totally don't think that should happen. I think after the fact, once the campaign's over, you can report lots of stuff and have people interested, like the killers, the thieves,
Yeah.
the people are digging tunnels under the keeps and stuff like that. You know, how many times you blast someone out of a catapult if they can. Like, track lots of stuff. Just be interesting for people. And someone that would, have a small goal that's not gilded
Hmm.
might just want to be like, oh, let's see how much money I can rob from people. And that might be their goal. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe I don't know. I don't know the complications that are going to arise from exporting this data to leaderboards. I don't know how difficult that's going to be. I mean, that data is going to be there. Obviously, it's being able to make that public facing, and so if they can do it and they can decide, oh, this information can update live, this information cannot update live, they could approach it that way. But again, at the end of the day, how complicated that is will probably determine a lot of how much makes it in. And so, when we look at, they want to get this game out the door by December 2016, how much of all the stuff that they say they want to put in the game do they mean they want to put that in the game by launch?
Well,
Um,
that's just something they don't have to add in. Doesn't have to be there for launch. That they can add on much later when they have time.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, we've got a year and some change here, so there is still the possibility that some of the stuff is able to be worked on. And they are continuing to raise funds, so they know that their expenses are going to exceed 2.3 $2.4 million, and
Right.
that probably goes away that money goes away really quick when you're factoring in salaries every month, the building expenses, any sort of networking,
Well,
hardware,
the hope
insurance.
that Todd had mentioned, I think I don't remember where, I remember reading this somewhere, but the hope was that basically once they start doing these pre-alphas and having people actually play testing and streaming it, they'll
Hmm.
generate interest and hopefully pick up some subscription money and some, well, not subscription money, but pledges
Yeah,
from that.
yeah, most definitely. And there is, I know that next week they're doing their big streamer week. I believe that's next week. And that's going to be marketing. That's all that is. That's marketing. They're not necessarily trying to get these streamers hooked on the game, although hey, fantastic if they do, but it is publicity. And the industry as a whole is recognizing that these individuals who are streaming, not like myself, but like the individuals who do this professionally, they have a big audience, and that word of mouth, their opinion is well respected. And so, our craft has said, I mentioned this to them, and they responded, "Oh yeah, we already know, we're on top of this." But I said, guys, I mean, reach out to streamers, reach out to Twitch, get this set up in a way that you are able to use everything you do as marketing. And the more that you're able to use as marketing, it's free. It's free marketing because you're already doing it. You just do it in a way that will bring you more publicity, and they've appeared to be heading that direction. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the community continues to grow and evolve as more and more people get access to what Crowfall is.
Yeah, they could get someone like Angry Joe. I'm not sure what people's opinion on him is, but he's certainly vocal and he's got a large following.
I I don't really have a whole lot of time to watch a lot of streaming. I know that there are some folks who do. Welcome, Ren. It's good to see you. I'd assume it's Ren. Could be Mini Ren, but um, the some folks do. Not going to name names, but he might be in our stream every week, and he might be in everyone's stream during tests. But the the streamers that can be contacted and explained the situation of the game are the ones who are going to be valuable. Just going out there and going after the 50,000 follower, 10,000 live views or whatever some of these top streamers have. Just going out there and being like, hey, play our game. They're going to log into your game and they're going to say, the fuck is this crap? This is, there's no colors, it's no textures, it doesn't even, it's still kind of clunky. You really have to be able to explain, hey, this is our pre-alpha, this is our, this is the game that we are building, and this is the ground level. If you would like to see what it is, be able to give your review, we would value your review of the game, and we will make these changes that we can make, and then we'd like to come back to you, have you take a look at it and compare and contrast, and you set that expectation of, hey, this is not our game. This is just one little element. So
Well,
you set that up. Yeah, go.
I'll say one thing is that with their alpha they did, with the grayscale combination of the colored player characters, the colored fires, and in the grayscale world, it actually has a nice kind of novelty to it that you're playing something completely different, and it's in alpha, but it doesn't look bad. Like,
Yep.
because you've never really seen it of style of a graphical presentation like the way it's been done in Crowfall, it actually ends up looking really good, I think.
I agree. And it kind of, even with the gray box, it has that theme, that snow covered landscape feel to it, and that was unintentional, I guess, but it works. And honestly, you know what? If they could just take where the game is right now, put it together as a little software package, they could sell that. People would buy this and they would play it. Yeah, I mean, really. But the thing is, and one of the questions that I've been frequently asking is, what are you guys going to do with the Hunger Dome? What is that just going to disappear off the map? Are you going to ever, incorporate it into the game as a whole? And one of the responses I got that I thought was really interesting is, the Hunger Dome's not the focus of Crowfall, and as such, as they continue building Crowfall, I mean, there's a high likelihood that what they continue doing to the actual game will have an impact on what we know as the Hunger Dome, and they would have to really choose to continue working and updating the Hunger Dome to match the game, and that would be a very, that'd be a limiting factor in being able to incorporate, all of that into this. So, having that perspective, I stepped back a little bit and said, you know what, I mean, I can see now why you wouldn't just, add the Hunger Dome, because it's not as easy as, oh, I'm just going to take this thing that exists in its current form and add it into a significantly more complex game and structure that will inevitably change significantly. So,
Right.
it would be neat, but I just don't. I am not hopeful anymore that we'll see that revive.
Well, if they have something like that again, it'll be like an arena style. They'll just have a map, a small map
Mm-hmm.
from their current assets, and then they could just throw three-man teams on it and with around the castle if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not with these assets. It would be like whatever they had at the time.
I can see that. Kind of like a capture a flag focus, going after religious relics or something like that for the Allfather.
Yeah. I mean, once they get to that point, that's going to be fantastic for them. One thing that we all have to remember, though, is that they have 22,000 backers, and of those 22,000, how many of them are not going to be paying Artcraft a dime for at least the first year? You're looking at, they're going to have to grow from what they have right now, and be able to handle that. It's a monthly sub. That's what VIP's for. And how do they continue, getting that immediate income when the game launches? Because I know a lot of games, they push up their launch date because they need more income, and they're running out of funds, and so they're like, all right, well, we need to go ahead and launch the game so we can get everyone to buy it real quick, and then we can try and fix everything before everyone leaves. So the fact that they've had 22,000 people buy into the game, they're going to have at least a month, significantly more for a number of those backers. Where is their money going to come from day one, launch date? That's a good question.
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics. There you go. I'm curious.
Yeah, cosmetics. Well, it'll have to be. I don't know. We'll have to come up with some interesting systems. Even something like being able to, like, if they can put it in, putting the trophies like from other players, like taking a trophy off their body, and
Mhm.
being able to display it.
Specifically their head.
Yeah, their head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's all we really care about. Hey, look, that pretty little head that you spent half an hour designing in their character creator, which actually they've already said isn't going to be there, but whatever. That's mine now. I've got that. I've got it up on this pike over here behind me. Screenshot.
Is it wrong that I want a necklace of ears?
Um,
It
I
doesn't
mean,
have to be like different ears, but just the same ears that you could just add on to a string that appears around your neck.
in context, it's not weird, but hearing you say that, yes, it's a little weird.
Well, there's going to be people collecting heads too, if they can.
Well, I mean, of
Seriously,
course.
What's really the difference between the heads and ears?
um, I mean, you kind of have a good point there.
I mean, it could be like Ultima Online, where a couple people I know collected bodies.
Um, Yeah, I mean, I guess that'd be a little bit weird as well. You just like you break into someone. I mean, you couldn't do this there, but you break into someone's house and there's just a stack of bodies just lying there, not even organized. Just like, you
Bunch
know
of
what?
bodies and some mandrake root.
Oh man, Manjack Root. Knock, welcome to the party. And no audio out of Knock. This is why we can't have nice things. I'm
Well,
sure.
we were 2 for 3.
I mean, people are doing well. No feedback from the show.
Mic check.
Mic check. There you go. I don't think there's a mic in here, shh. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do I sound better than last time?
Yes, significantly. Is there a reason?
Yes. Last time it was my webcam mic picking up.
That would definitely affect it.
Yeah, the Failboat headset sale.
There you go. Well,
So I wanted to say thanks for the shout out earlier today about the art assets and all that.
yeah.
I did actually reach my goal of Ruby. I do have the Ruby badge on
Yeah.
the forums now. So I just want to thank all the people that had contributed to that. When I make it down to the launch party, look for me. I'm gonna make a T-shirt and have all my supporters on the back of it.
Okay. Very awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I am not a Ruby, and so I'm going to figure out how I can swindle my way into all of that, but we'll see. That is not the sort of thing that I am confident I'm going to be able to make happen. We'll see. Maybe they'll open up just like, hey, if you can afford it, here's $40. You can come, do whatever.
Yeah, why not? Sell launch tickets to a party.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and you're getting the challenge. Emerald or bust. So there you go.
Why stop at Emerald?
There we go. Well, I mean, look, if you can do diamond, more power to you. Also, you probably could just contact them and get a percentage of their company. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm just shooting aim to just own Ace. There we go.
Oh, okay, there you go. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, has anyone seen anything really going around the community of late? I haven't really seen anything kick off of any sort of significance. There's just minimal interaction.
As far
I
as
find it's pretty slow.
Yeah.
as far as community involvement.
Just if I've looked around and there hasn't really been any sort of community issue kick off in any sort of meaningful matter, and usually there's at least one thing that'd be like, oh, hey, look at this. But folks, if you haven't, here's another fun thing: is this is going to be our this is going to be a great resource. So if you want to actually be able to see a lot more footage from Crowfall, hop in there. I mean, there's a lot of great videos that have been uploaded. I put together a 30-minute video that personally I think is funny, but I think my jokes are funny. So take that for what you will.
You got one person to laugh.
I mean, I always get one person to laugh. It's just usually me. So yeah, guys, I think that we've hit about everything that I think we can hit. I'm probably going to go ahead and call this a show, call it a night. I'll probably hang out on Gamebox for a little bit and just shoot the shit with folks who want to hang out there. And if you've got anything for me, by all means hit me up on the forums, and I will not be here next week. I'm going to be in New York City, and then the week after that I am going to be in Cancun. So I personally will not be around to make sure the show goes off, but I will do my best to make sure that Dragon or Lake are able to well, not Lake, but Dragon is able to pick up at least someone or two to make it all happen. Worst case scenario, you see me in a couple weeks and we get things going again. So, all right, guys, this has been Crowns and Crows, September 29th. We will see you next time. All right, that's that.
And you'll have an all-time low of viewers when Dragon takes over.
Oh my gosh.
No what ifs, man.
We only hit 17 tonight, so I mean, but then again, I did absolutely no marketing. I really
20 tonight at the highest I saw.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I had a promise. Yeah, that's not streaming.